Lawmakers confirmed the appointment of the new service chiefs after a thorough screening. In the House of Representatives, legislators issue an ultimatum for the registrar of JAMB to present himself or risk arrest. And later on the program, Honorable Inua Garba will join us live to discuss the fate of the PDP as defections continue to replace its ranks in the National Assembly. You're watching the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Sijesu Adiolu. It was a tense but reassuring session at the National Assembly as lawmakers screened Nigeria's newly appointed service chiefs on issues bordering on national security and the protection of lives and property. For hours, the session was dominated by hard questions on terrorism, banditry, and the rising wave of insecurity across the country. The service chiefs responded with firm assurances, pledging to restore confidence and reclaim every inch of Nigeria's territory from criminal elements. Lawmakers after the session expressed renewed optimism, saying they are convinced the new military leadership has both the capacity and the zeal to deliver. They also pledged full legislative backing to ensure the nation's armed forces have the resources and legislative support needed to win the fight against insecurity. For many Nigerians, the hope is that this renewed synergy between the legislature and the military will translate into real action and lasting peace across the country.
What immediate action do you intend to take in addressing acts of terrorism, insurgency, and banditry bedeviling the country, having regard to your experience in the various theater of war?
The northwest part of the country is facing very serious security challenges. In particular, we have the bandits and also the Lakurawa that came from Mali. Nigerians will be interested to hear from the Chief of Army Staff designate how he intends to solve this issue of Lakurawa challenge.
Recently, we had proposal for setting up of a marine guide. And the House was divided whether we need to have another outfit specifically devoted to water security in addition to the Navy, or whether is it not better to re-equip the Navy and strengthen it so that we have the capacity to further reinforce what it's already doing to protect Nigeria waters across the country. Thank you, Mr. President, sir.
Being a service chief in Nigeria, it's something that requires courage, extreme dedication, and commitment. And that means you have to submit yourself totally to not sleeping, to not having any time of yours, and doing everything under duress to make Nigeria safer.
I have served in countries like the United States, and I want to assure you, sir, a Nigerian is a proud person anywhere. Our standards are high. I've flown with Americans, I've flown with people from everywhere, and they respect us. All we need is support. I intend to improve troops welfare generally, to enhance the living and working condition of our troops, encouraging financial support, and assuring quality access to both healthcare and education. So those initiatives to improve troops' welfare will be holistic, that revolves around both housing and infrastructure, financial support, increasing allowances, and ensuring timely payment of their due benefits.
Whether there is any need for it. Sir, categorically I would say we don't need that, because the Nigerian Navy is already doing that with what we have, one of our roles is Coast Guard duties, which is what we are doing. Creating another agency to do that work, it would be a duplication of function. Rather, I would advise that even if it is half of the funds that are going to be used to establish the Coast Guard, it can be used to enhance the platform availability of the Nigerian Navy. So my take is we don't need to have any Coast Guard. We are already doing that job.
On the whole, we believe that this will renew the hope of Nigerians in respect of restoring security to our nation. Though security is everybody's business, but we found them fit and very capable. Almost all of them emerging.
The Senate has given the green light for President Bola Tinubu's request to borrow $2.34 billion from the international capital market. The approval follows the adoption of a report by the Senate's Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, chaired by Senator Aliyu Wamako. According to the report, $1.23 billion will help finance the 2025 budget deficit, while $1.12 billion will be used to refinance Nigeria's Eurobonds maturing in November 2025. Lawmakers also endorsed the president's plan to issue Nigeria's first ever sovereign sukuk bond worth up to $500 million, a move expected to expand the nation's financing options. With this approval, the federal government can now proceed with external borrowing to support the 2025 budget and strengthen Nigeria's debt management strategy.
The committee urges the Senate to approve the President's request in full, as enunciated above. Those in support that these borrowing plans and all the contents the hearing in this report by Mr. President be approved in full, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
There was high drama at the National Assembly as officials of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, worked out on lawmakers during a heated investigative session. The House Committee on Basic Education had convened to scrutinize JAMB's 2023 and 2024 budget performances, its use of internally generated revenue, and evidence of remittances to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. The committee revealed that it had written 3 separate letters to JAMB on October the 6th, 17th, and 23rd of 2025, demanding the agency's financial documents and the personal appearance of the registrar, Professor Ishak Oloyede. But at the fact-finding meeting, tension filled the room when JAMB's team lead requested a private session, arguing that the documents in question were sensitive. The lawmakers declined, insisting on transparency. In a shocking twist, the registrar's representative reportedly became agitated, ordered his team to leave, and stormed out of the session abruptly, ending the proceedings.
The committee has sensitive information and that we don't require the presence of pressmen. Kindly give us the benefit of doubt that they should excuse us, please.
You just whisper to the chairman, or you whisper to the clerk to tell the chairman. You don't dictate for us when you are here. It's like you're dictating for us.
One thing the committee will not take from any agency is when the agency refuses to submit documents that were requested by this committee, and you refuse to submit those documents, and you think the committee can be cowed, that we will not tolerate it.
Whatever you think you have. Even if you own this country, please tell the... Even if you think you own this country, you'll be arrested. Useless man. You know your job. Tell the sergeant that this man should be arrested.
No,
The gale of defections rocking the People's Democratic Party shows no sign of slowing down And this time, 5 lawmakers have jumped ship to the ruling All Progressives Congress. It was a political realignment on the floor of the House of Representatives as Speaker Tajuddin Abbas announced the defection of 5 PDP members from Enugu State to the APC. The development further depletes the ranks of the opposition, intensifying what many describe as a steady erosion of the PDP strength in the lower chamber. In their separate letters read before the House, the defecting lawmakers cited what they called intractable crisis within their former parties, the PDP and the Labour Party, as the reason for their exit. The defection adds a new twist to Nigeria's shifting political landscape and signals growing unease within the opposition's camp as the 2027 election draws closer.
This decision became necessary due to the prolonged internal crisis and unresolved leadership disputes within the PDP at both the national and state levels, which have adversely affected the cohesion and functionality of the party, especially in Enugu State. After extensive consultations with my constituents, stakeholders, and political associates in Nsukka, Igbo Ize South Federal constituency, it was collectively resolved that aligning with the All Progressive Congress APC would better serve the developmental interests of our people and enhance my capacity to deliver effective representation.
We'll take a short break, but when Hallowed Chambers returns, the political storm shaking the National Assembly takes center stage. We'll be joined by a lawmaker from Gombe State to unpack the gale of defections sweeping through the chambers and what it means for Nigeria's political future. Don't go anywhere. This conversation is just getting started.
I write to request the kind approval of the National Assembly.
Behind every decision, every vote,
The ayes have it.
and every heated debate lies the heartbeat of democracy.
This matter is very, very important.
I therefore rule you out of order.
Welcome to the place where it all unfolds. Every week, I take you inside the inner workings of the assembly, where laws are shaped, decisions are made, and the future of the nation is decided.
The ayes have it.
Join me, Tijesu Adeoye, and other seasoned experts, analysts, and lawmakers at the National Assembly as they uncover the real stories behind the headlines and offer unfiltered insight on the most pressing issues of the day. This is your front row seat to the heart of power. Watch the Hallowed Chambers every Saturday at 9 p.m. only on TVC News. Thank you for staying with the Hallowed Chambers. Now joining us is Honorable Inuwa Garba, member representing Yamal 2 Deba Federal Constituency of Gombe State. It's good to have you on the program, Honorable.
Thank you, ma'am.
The defections from the PDP seems relentless, a steady exodus that's shrinking the party's ranks. What exactly is driving so many of your members away?
Thank you very much for this question. I think some of us politicians are like chameleon. We do change at any time, looking at the scenario or the body language of the constituents, or some based on their own personal interests, some based on the request by their electorates. All I agree and understand is political is always local. Wherever you are, whatever you do, sometimes you have control over what you can do. Sometimes what you can do is controlled by the scenario at that point. And it's not a new thing, people defecting from one party to another based on their own situation. So, like we always see in an African political context, people do take this kind of decisions. It's not new, but that's not to say where they go, they have upper hand, or where they live, they have nothing. That all that belongs to Almighty God, and I can't talk for them. I can only talk for myself. As I'm talking to you, I'm currently in PDP, and I'm manning the seat of PDP, and by good grace, I will see what I can do, unless if it is beyond my power. It's all belong to God, but I will continue to do the right thing I'm supposed to.
Section 68, subsection 1G of the Constitution clearly spells out the conditions for defection, and yet time and time again we see those rules ignored. Has the law simply lost its bite, or is politics now above the Constitution?
The position of the minority leader is a constitutional provision, and it is in the House Standing Rules, which was spelled out the responsibilities, the mandate of the minority leader and minority members, which is not new. We all know what their responsibilities are, is to be part of the checks and balances in the chambers and even outside the chamber, and even checking the excesses of the government of the day, which is the ruling party. So that is exactly what we are trying our best to do, despite the fact that our number is declining, and that's not to say our role is not there. Our role is there. We continue to do what is our mandate. We continue to do what is right. We continue to do what is, constitutionally, our own responsibility.
There are strong indications that even more defections are looming ahead of the 2027 elections. How prepared is the PDP to withstand what could become a political earthquake?
By good grace, for now, no one can tell, because completely the political scenario is confused. Those that are jumping into APC are not jumping because of the fact that they are comfortable with what is happening in APC. Those that are remaining in the opposition, they are not maintaining their status quo because they are comfortable with what is happening in the party. The general political scenario in Nigeria, it is in a serious problems, because in a political, in a democratic governance, where you see agitations, where you see a lot of complaints, where you see a lot of economic hardship, where you see lack of proper infrastructural development, where you see a lot of insecurity, where you see a lot of vices that are not in tandem with the expectation of the general populace who are the electorate, no one can really say for now. Like I'm saying, some of the parties they finish their own congresses, talk less of, convey other party activities. Until we finish all that, to say something now, I don't think if it is right. The number of defections does not mean that that's what will be determined in the general elections.
Some members of your party blame President Tinubu and the ruling APC for masterminding this mass exodus. Do you share that view, or is the problem deeper within the PDP itself?
Well, I blame the entire system. The entire system, both the PDP itself, the APC itself, and the government in power, because it's not only PDP's problem. All other opposition, they have the same type of problems which emanated from in one way or the other, the process and procedure of that kind of problem were the same. So the government in power has a role to play in order to make the democratic governance or democratic system more credible to the expectation of the international, political space. And that is to say that will create and accommodate the Nigerian interests, be it economically, politically, and otherwise, in the international fora, so that investors can have that peace of mind to come and invest in your country, because they know that the democratic system has its own, there's a very, good measure of credibility. And all other interests that may come from both in and outside can be able to accommodate, the scenario in the country. But in a situation where you find out that all these things are not credible enough to accommodate the interests of those even inside the country, talking of those that are outside that are coming to put in their money or their interest, then there's a big problem.
All right, sir. Now, let's talk about your party in your state. How formidable is the PDP in Gombe State?
We thank God. PDP is still very strong in Gombe State, united and formidable, because you can see we are 6 of us as members of the House of Representatives. We still have 5 of us intact in APC, in PDP, while we have 1 in APC. Out of the 3 senators, we have 2 senators in PDP, 1 is in APC. And we are all united, and we are trying our best to see how we can consolidate so that we can face the 2027 general elections.
Let's turn to the electoral reforms bill, particularly the proposal to hold elections 6 months before the end of tenure. Do you see this as a step forward for democracy or just another political experiment?
You see, there are gaps. There are gaps that the proposal by both individual, stakeholders from all and sundry are bringing. And that is just a proposal. It has not been passed, so you can't say that it has stand. It is a proposal, and we are working on it. I'm a member of the Electoral Matters Committee. We are discussing with all the stakeholders to see how we can come up with something that will be accepted, something that will be more credible and more transparent, so that we have a hitch-free elections. And on the issue you said, you see the gap from the primaries to elections. It's a very long period of time, so it creates a lot of gap, in the process. We are trying to see how it can be reduced so that it cannot be so hectic that all the system will not be overstretched.
Supporters of the bill argue that the 6 months window will allow all court cases to be settled before swearing in. Now, do you believe that's a strong enough justification, or are there hidden motives at play?
Yes, it's very important. You can see that in that area, you can see somebody who will be sworn into the office after some 1, 2, 3 months, court judgment will force him to vacate. And that is another problem. Then elections will be conducted to bring another person. Even that person, if he comes in, somebody may take him to court. You can see there's long queue of court, activities. So we think if all court cases will be concluded before even swearing in somebody into office, that will be better. We save money, we save time, and we save the process from having this kind of interruptions.
That is all on the program this week. You can watch this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Also, follow us on all our social media platforms to get breaking news and updates from Nigeria and across the world. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adewi. See you next time.